Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and welcome back to my Final Fantasy XIV Let's Play. So, before I get started, you have to understand a little bit of history about the channel before you understand the making of this video. For about a year or so, way back in, I believe, the Heavensward era, I had a Let's Play series for Final Fantasy XIV. Now, obviously, I play the game regularly. I had already done that. I took it as an opportunity just to play through the game, give people an idea of what they were getting into, things they could look out for, give some tips, some hints, and I also took the opportunity to play on controller a little bit. However, I decided that I wasn't going to continue that series some years ago, and for years I've been getting requests to either continue that series or do a new one. Well, I decided that now is the time to do a new one. So, the purpose of this Let's Play, as someone who's played the game for a really long time, is to kind of refresh my idea of what the new player experience actually is. They've done a ton of updating over the years, and while I've done things like the A Realm Reborn revamped series, where I played through the revamped version to compare it to the previously changed version, they've done a ton of updates even since then. So I'm going to be getting on a new character, and I am going to be playing through as I did in the Let's Play series, and I'm just going to be blasting through as quick as I possibly can. We're going to be releasing a video on this once per week, maybe twice per week if I have some backed up videos and I don't have some other stuff. And you're going to very frequently hear me ask my cat Ivy to please stop trying to sit on my lap the entire time. And she's going to ignore me, and you'll probably have to put up with that a whole lot too. So I've got my character ready to make, just a character that looks just like my main character, because I'm not creative at all. I'm colorblind, I'm stupid, I have no sense of fashion, so you're getting a Lalafell, and you're just going to have to deal with it. I am going to go Conjurer. I'm of the big opinion that if you really want to accelerate your early game experience, going tank or healer is the way to go. And if you're a DPS, fortunately, there are plenty of systems in the game that make that quick too. But just as a little safety thing, I prefer going healer first. It just gives me a little bit more agency. I can probably play with actual people a little bit more. And we just need to pick the actual homeworld. Maybe I won't stick on Conjurer. Maybe I'll decide to do something else at some point, because the original series was me on healer also. So it kind of is continuing in that spirit as well. So, I'm going to make this character on Ether, but only Sargatanas and Midgardsormr are available. Nothing wrong with that. Sargatanas was actually the server that I started on back in A Realm Reborn when they let me transfer my original legacy character from the 1.0 servers to a specific 2.0 server. So, I also have a bunch of like random alts on Sargatanas. And what are we going to name it? You know what? My Final Fantasy XI character's name is Pletse, which is Let's Play Back. So that's what we're going to do. Let's do Pletse instead of, the other one I don't pronounce it, but we're going to do Pletse, assuming it's available. All right, it is. So we are going to be skipping cutscenes. That's a little loud for me, but I think my headset's just on really loud. So this is not going to be a story walkthrough. I'm not going to be voicing things. We are just going to be seeing, I've got a server congested real quick. And as you can see, I've got a bunch of other like random characters on this server too, just for a video. Happy Fish, Happy Test. I've got characters kind of scattered all about that are just for very specific purposes. And Pletse is going on that list of characters, I suppose. So while I have some time here, I guess, you know, where this queue won't take very long. Why am I doing this now? Well, there's actually a couple of reasons. One, from a content creation standpoint, one thing that I didn't really do very well back in the day is pace myself. And so series like this, I would generally burn out on, even if there was a decent amount of demand for it in the first place. So I want to exercise some of that and actually show a bit of restraint when it comes to the release schedule for these, unless I really think that there's a major benefit for me at any given week. Maybe like scheduling, I don't have anything else planned, whatever the reason may be. I want to do it. Number two, it's heavily requested. Like, a lot of people want some of my old series to come back. People are still waiting on Versus related stuff. People are waiting on more bestiaries to come out at some point. And that's just been a continuing trend that, you know, I've just noticed. It's never really gone away. And so I might as well just finally make do on that and just, well, you know, do the series. And number three, I kind of just want to actually see what it's like to be a new player in terms of pacing. Now, obviously, I'm not going to be replicating that exactly, because I know all of this stuff, and I'm sure there are things I've forgotten. I'm sure there are things that that are not secondhand knowledge to me, because you know, it's just it's just likely not. Didn't they? I could have swore there was a way to turn these off permanently. Oh, you know what? I clicked out of it before, so I think now I need to go. Is it active help? No, it's not active help. I think it's in character configuration, enable direct chat, skip cutscene. No. Could have swore. I think I left my tutorial. Oh my goodness, I can hear Ivy just yowling at me. She is absolutely not okay with this. All right, I'll find the help text thing sooner or later. See, this is the thing. Like, I don't even know this off the top of my head. Like, where those types of, like, where the turn off the tutorials are if you left it on. One thing I really wanted to do, however, is go to target and scroll down and highlight potential target. Something I get asked about a lot. It's just when you see this little, like, highlight over this character right here, it just does that. Like, it just gives you an idea of exactly what you're hovering over, which a lot of people always ask me about. I'm a standard player, though I do generally recommend, if you've never played it before, to try on Legacy. A lot of people play on Legacy. It is, by and far, the more common of the things that you will see people doing. Display item help, that's fine. Action help, pop-up help. I think pop-up help is the one that I was looking to get rid of. Oh, display active help windows, turn that off. Help text when using cross type. I think pop-up help is just tooltip related stuff. No, pop-up help. I think that the active help window. I don't know what I have on my main, but we'll just do that. And I'm already level 2, mind you, right from the first quest. See, that's something I already forgot. And now we do this and we'll be good. So, because I want to kind of replicate a new player experience, I'm a bit hesitant on what to use in terms of limited items on my account. Now, there are a number of items that you can obtain as a brand new player that you could spend real money on, or maybe you like bought the collector's edition of something, but I don't think I should use any of that because oh my goodness, because most new players probably won't have that. Now, a big thing for me is display name settings, because I mean, look at all these names around. So I'm going to change my own name to that. I'm sorry, I'm going to change it to, I think, this. Just something brighter. Others, party members, I personally do initials. That's just something I do. This is just changing the way all of these people's names are going to be displayed. I normally don't display alliance member names at all. I only display their HP bar when it's under 100%. And I also never display other people, because as you can see, it gets a little bit out of hand. I think I get rid of the pets normally too. I'm trying to think, do I normally get rid of pets? I think I usually leave pets. Or, I'm sorry, minions, more specifically. But, no, I definitely don't leave minions. I can already tell, because, I mean, I don't spend a lot of time in cities, but there's no way I'm spending. I can already tell. When targeted. Yeah, I'll do that. Why not? All right, so we got to do our first couple of quests here. Now, I am not a big side quester in Final Fantasy XIV. There's a lot of interesting stories locked behind them, especially in the later expansions, but especially with the amount of quality of life, the rate of leveling that has been introduced into the game at this point, it's rarely worth it, in my opinion, to go out of your way to get all of these side quests done. If you are doing it, I do think the best reason is generally because you just don't want all of them on your minimap. That's perfectly fine. It's just not something that bothers me necessarily. And so I'm probably going to be skipping most of those. And I will say that if you are worried about getting to later parts of the game, you will probably do the same. It's a matter of your OCD of getting rid of the quests going against your desire to actually progress at a more rapid rate. So we're just going to knock through these first few quests. I'm going to leave the default UI for the time being a little bit too. As you can see, like, my hotbars are just kind of in this wide stance. Normally I would take a little bit of time, modify all of those, you know, add shift multipliers. As a longtime player, it's just a natural thing, but I don't really need to do that yet, and it's honestly a pretty quick thing for me to do. I will say that there are certain kind of button layouts that I've gotten used to on certain jobs, and it's tempting to at least do things like put sprint on a mouse button for me, for example. Like, that's a big one. But I really don't need it at the moment. Again, there's just not enough skills. I think I actually have sprint on 5 normally when I'm playing a healer. It's playing other jobs, right? It really depends on the job. I think actually on healers, I put it on my mouse button. Just trying to remember back. All right, let's talk to Iyumi-san. Yeah, even though I'm kind of blitzing through this, I'm not really going to attempt to hyper-optimize my movement or my decision-making. Like, it's never really been my cup of tea. It's really more about just, like, kind of doing what's the bare minimum expected of you to do at a pace that is somewhat reasonable. And I think that we're going to achieve that pretty okay, I'm pretty sure. So we got that done. We also need to go to the market. I like to do just a little lap around whatever city-state I'm starting in. It's pretty valuable to grab the Aetherites pretty much right away. All the Ether nets, I should say. They make you grab the Aetherite, but all the Ether nets for getting around, they not only let you just quickly teleport within the city, you have to walk up to them and use them still, but, you know, from one, you can teleport to any other one. But if you have them all, you can also quickly teleport outside the city before you have flying and before you've really progressed through the story a decent bit. That's going to be something that if when you remember to do it or when you remember the layout of the maps, just comes in handy. So speaking of maps, one thing is going to be the passive EXP we actually get from going into each zone. Now, that's not a lot. I can just hear Ivy yowling. She is furious that I am recording this right now. She was fine before I started recording, but once I started talking, she no longer had the patience for me. And quite frankly, it's shocking she has the patience for me at all. But yeah, we're going to want to grab these. Yeah, one thing that they changed is that now when you zone out into a map for the old maps, the Realm Reborn ones, it'll pretty much instantly discover the entire thing. A part of me likes that. A part of me wishes that I could kind of still break it apart and get the passive amounts of EXP from discovering each part. That actually used to have some decent leveling utility because every time you discover a portion of the map, you got a portion of a level. It's not a lot, but sometimes I could just leave map portions unavailable when I get to like the 50s, the 60s, like the really high level areas. And that would be sometimes enough to just push over a level, which was nice. Now, I have to make some decisions. So my delivery Moogle is full of rewards because I've been playing this game for a long time. We really don't want to take anything that would provide an unfair advantage over a new player. Now, Fantasias, this is just... Actually, interesting thing. So, there's an NPC that gives a free Fantasia in the patch that I'm currently playing in. Those are just items that you can obtain both from purchasing them from the online store. That's the primary method of earning them. And also, and there's also the free one I mentioned. But you get them, I think, when you finish the ultimate weapon, which is the level 50, the name of the level 50 quest. And I think there's one other one that I'm forgetting about. But most of these items I have are just going to be cosmetic. I've picked them up from like collector's editions or different, collaborations or different merchandise. But there are some things that you can get that you'll either get just from being a longtime player. Like this, for example, I'm pretty sure, yeah, this is enclosed as the Wind-Up Odin. I'm pretty sure this was one of the veteran rewards. Still is one of the veteran rewards, so we can take that. But there's some things that you can get, whether you're like pre-ordering a new expansion or you've just bought something off the store, that they provide you a lot of boosted EXP. Now, we will obtain some EXP boosting items naturally while playing the game, things that we can use on multiple jobs. In fact, very early into the game, we'll actually obtain a great one, the brand new ring. But there are just also a ton of different things in the game that I will have amassed over the years of playing that get sent to every single character. These are just a uniform vouchers. Probably, I don't even know if I'll really exchange those, but it's whatever. Worth at least for me to take the time to look through these. Wind-Up Cursor, another Fantasia. I don't ever Fantasia, so the fact that I have all of these is kind of just funny. Also, my Legacy Chocobo. It's really funny to me, like, that I even get a Legacy Chocobo on the other characters because my account is Legacy. But this isn't a legacy character. So it's, I mean, it's cool. It's great. I'm glad every character gets it because, you know, not very many people are legacy players. People who paid a certain amount of time. I think it was 3 months paid the 1.0 subscription. I think that's the amount of time to get the legacy Chocobo. But it's unobtainable. Like, if you weren't a 1.0 player, it is an unobtainable thing. Okay, so what we just picked up was the Helm of Light. Now, the Helm of Light is an EXP boosting item. If I'm not mistaken... I'm trying to remember which one, because the Moogle Cap and the Helm of Light are kind of similar in that regard. There was, I think one was a pre-order bonus for A Realm Reborn, and the other one was, I think, a collector's edition bonus. And then the Onion Helm, I think the Onion Helm, oh no, so that's, oh, the original 14 collector's edition for the Onion Helm. That I could use. It doesn't really provide a major advantage in any capacity, but I also probably shouldn't. So exiting that, I can pretty quickly just start going through all of these. These are mostly minions, mounts, bardings for my Chocobo eventually, so I can customize them. You can see that it's entirely refilling. I think we should probably continue on and I take care of the rest of that. I guess the point is I wanted to show that there are items that increase the experience points that you gain. And some of them are just like things that aren't, like this, I believe, is obtainable. I should have read the mail that it came in. So I could definitely use, I think, this one, and it wouldn't really be that far out of the realm of possibility, because a player might pick up the game and be like, hey, I have this collector's, but there's also the free trial, and a free trial player is never going to have that. So I think we actually just kind of, I think we just walk away from this guy for now, and we don't really worry about all of that. The free Fantasia NPC is up here. There's a Moogle up here. Let me grab this, and then I'll double back up to grab the other Ethernet. And then there's one more Ethernet in Old Gridania. Sorry, in New Gridania that I need to grab as well. Ivy is sitting right here. I've actually been just pressing my hand against her head to push her from like, if she jumps on my lap, she's gonna be digging into my lap. It's gonna be a time. She is not gentle when she is being affectionate. She is, you know, I'm gonna, you know, knead into your arm. I'm gonna knead into your arm. I'm gonna knead into your legs. I'm gonna rip up your pants. Like it's a time. Now, one thing I am gonna do is I'm gonna change my auto run. Where is auto run? Strafe, jump, move forward, toggle between run, walk, turn off auto run. I am definitely gonna do that. X has always been my key for that. I don't know why. It's just always been my key for that. Alright, get that attunement done. And these little things seem really menial to go out of your way to do all this. Now you're like, oh, I could always do that later. But there's some things where I've noticed that players put them off till later and then just put them off. I'm not going to say indefinitely, but they put them off for too long. A big one's definitely going to be flying after A Realm Reborn. I have seen many a player who puts that off for far, far too long. And I just, I don't like to encourage that behavior. All right, let's give them the eel pie. Not going to be doing anything with retainers just yet. And then listen, if you want to do these side quests that I'm walking past, feel free. I mean, I gave you the precursor to why I'm not doing them, but there's no reason not to. Like, you can be like level 5, 6 by the time you even leave the city, I believe, if you do all the quests. Oh yeah, let me stop down here and grab this. And, you know, cool, like, you're getting a little bit of a head start. But none of it's significant. Like, you might pick up, like, an accessory. That's kind of the big thing that you do get from some of the side quests is accessories. The main story itself should pretty adequately put the left side gear in your inventory. It's really the right side that becomes questionable. And if, by the way, if you see me randomly doing really weird movement, it's because I'm trying to play one-handed because Ivy's trying to get onto my lap. So you can see by having every Ethernet, I now have access to quick teleports outside of the city. Now, I have to do this first, but I could have teleported here to here and then walked down. But yeah, now I can just basically teleport outside of the gates. And that does the trick pretty much right away. So we got to do Way of the Conjurer. Now, looking in the top left, you have your main scenario quests. This is the like quest tracker that specifically points you towards important quests. Whenever there is a quest at the bottom of that, do it. That is often a class quest, a job quest, or some other very important quest that you should 100% be doing. What do I need? Level 4 for this quest? I kind of forgot this happens even. I think this is level 4 specifically, so you'll either go do a bunch of quests, or so you'll be encouraged to go out and do your Way of the Conjurer quest, which I believe is redundant. See, this is where it's like the new player experience is really different now, because especially A Realm Reborn, they changed a lot in this really early section, where there's a lot less quests. but the amount that you actually get, like, EXP wise is pretty significant. So yeah, all it's doing is it's trying to make me come out here, and it wants me to do these quests right here. No biggie. Fortunately, I am... Well, I'm not going to get credit for that one, I don't think. Oh, no, I did. I think that person's just trying to find squirrels for the time being. One thing I actually like doing that I'm not doing right now, just because I should actually level from this quest. One thing that kind of goes... I'm not going to say underappreciated. It's adequately appreciated. If you kill a monster that's equal to your level or higher, it actually gives you the ability to chain experience. So by killing this level 3, for example, I'm level 3 at the moment. So if I kill a level 3 or higher enemy, I actually get a chain of EXP that makes the subsequent kills worth more and more. So I got 60 EXP from that one. And then if I kill this one fast enough, which this is more than fast enough, mind you, then the next one ends up being worth an extra 20%. It's worth 72. Now, when you're a brand new character, that's not that relevant, but it is nice just to kind of keep up with it because you also don't need a whole lot of experience at this level. That one was worth 75 EXP. So it's one of those, like, why wouldn't you want bonus EXP, right? But at some point, you're probably going to outlevel your quests, and it literally will become a non-factor. Not even because you don't want to do it, because there's really no feasible way for you to do it at that point. Like, the ground squirrels, there aren't level 3 ground squirrels. So the whole reason for me doing that has already been, like, nullified. So I have to run back here and grab it. But it's just one of those things that I like to keep in mind. When I'm playing, like, a brand new class right from level 1, and I have bonuses that allow that to be worth a whole lot more, that's when it matters to me a whole lot more. So I like to make people aware of it early. It's also something that comes into play during certain end game activities later, where you have to kind of do these additional leveling bits. There's just like, it's like a content that has its own separate leveling system on top of your character level. It's really useful to know for those things because it can help with your target selection. It can help know what you actually need to do. It gives you a bit of guidance, I suppose, is the best way to look at it. And you don't have to be, like, super speedy like me or anything like that. You have plenty of time to go slow, read your abilities. That's something you should definitely be doing. Anytime you get a new ability, hover over it, read it. And if you don't understand it, don't feel bad asking somebody else about what it does. There's actually a play guide on the website. It's not very good for, like, high-level players, but it gives you it just gives you kind of a bigger picture, I suppose. It has explanations of, like, individual job gauges and stuff like that. And that's important. Now, normally what the game would kind of recommend you to do is go to Turn In That Way of the Conjurer quest. I know I'm going to get another class quest at level 5. So I'm a huge fan of getting to, level 5. And then going back and turning that in and then immediately accepting the next quest. Again, you don't have to do that. That's just like a personal little quirk of mine that I find is just very logical. Like, why run back, hand in the level 1 quest, not be level 5, and then come back out here, get level 5, and then have to go back? I'm just trying to limit the amount of teleports. Now, ideally, what I would actually do, something I did not do this time, I would have just chained mobs up to level 5 before going back. At this point, just killing a few mobs gives you a level. And why not? You know, it's a really simple thing. In fact, I might have to do that because when you're skipping side quests through these first few levels, it definitely becomes noticeable. And this quest is actually going to give me, I think this quest specifically, it requires level 5, but I happen to be level 5. I think I just have to equip a headpiece, if I'm not mistaken. And I can equip any headpiece because these are all level 5, and then you need to have a headpiece at level 5 too, don't you? Yeah, head. So for this quest, you can either just, I think you can actually do the level 5 class quest to do it. If you do have any of these little pre-order bonuses, you can do that. And if you're incredibly impatient, you can also walk over here, purchase battle gear, and just grab some like level 5 headpiece. Doesn't work for every job, but like for example, say I could just grab that 100 gil. Not really worth doing, but I'm just making an example out of it. And then I will do that. I'm actually manually equipping it because otherwise it's going to throw on that other stuff and I'm going to get a bunch of bonus EXP. Yeah, and then this. I don't have to take that. There's another quest that'll give me an upgraded weapon soon, but, you know, might as well. And that pushed me to level 6. So you're already getting an idea of like how quick the lower levels can go at this point. But now we are at that level. So when you want to quickly return to wherever city you started from, by default, you actually... hold on. Something I didn't want to do. By default, you actually have a home point set. A home point is where your body will go if you actually die in combat and you're not resurrected by another player. It's also where you can choose to use the return option too. Every, I believe, what is it, 10 minutes or so, you can use the return option just to go back to that point. And so it's actually great for saving gil early on if you actually make very frequent use of the return feature. I do recommend moving it around quite frequently. And yeah, it's hard to know in advance when you really want to use return. Teleport is the thing that actually costs gil. However, I can actually do this. So, a couple of things. You can register favored destinations, which will reduce the gil cost of locations. So, you might have your return point in a certain city-state, for example, for me, New Gridania, because I just started here. But maybe you're frequently teleporting to one of the other city-states. You can choose to reduce its cost with the favored destination. However, something I definitely recommend you do once you start actually paying for the game, once you go past the free trial, is register a security token. Now, there are physical tokens that you can purchase, but there is, of course, also the ability to just connect it to like a Google Authenticator. And by doing that, you actually get a free destination. So now I can just come back here. And given that these are my only two locations that are relevant for the moment, not a bad idea. So I can go back, grab the Conjurer quest, and then come back out, teleport here, do the quests, and then return might be back up by that point. And you should be good. So then we can use the Ethernet to go over here. Quickly getting used to the fact that you can actually do these things is very important. And if for someone who hasn't played in a few years, you might notice that even that Ethernet teleport has gotten a significant update. The list is far more concise, and you can actually click on the individual location on the map itself. So we used to not have visualizations. We had to kind of just know the name of all the different locations that it could teleport us to and then go there through a list. Now we actually have the visual of the map. Hunting log, also very important. We'll be getting into that momentarily. But also you could just click on the map itself once you're in that menu. So if you don't know what it's called, but you know where it is, you can just click it, which is a very, very important thing. Also, another piece of advice, if you know where, like let's say this bent branch, you can see it's 0 because it's favorited. You can also just click on an aetheryte on the map. So if you actually have a bunch of quest icons or other icons that are maybe blocking it, hold the control button if you're on keyboard and mouse. I don't remember how to do it on controller, but there is a way. And it'll bring it to the front of everything, so it's easier to click on. Now, we could go back to the other location, but our quest is actually here in a different zone. So we're going to just quickly dip out over here and get this done. Now, one thing the game also starts giving you very early on is food. Now, food buffs are important in endgame raids, obviously. But, obviously, you probably aren't thinking too much about, you know, the buffs, the actual, like, stats you're getting right now, right? It's probably not much of a concern. Instead, you're more focused on the fact that it gives you 3% experience when you have a food buff up. So you can see here in the top right, I have my food buff. And that is going to provide me with a 3% EXP boost on top of the other benefits. I mean, it's free EXP. Anytime a quest gives you food, if you haven't eaten food in a while, maybe you've forgotten, just haven't done it, go ahead and do it. Now, this marker over enemies' heads belongs to a log called the hunting log. And this is basically just like a quick little list of enemies that you can go after. Usually it's relative to the progression of the story. And then just a little bit of a boost of EXP. Again, the game's kind of so fast at this point that it's not super important, but it doesn't hurt to do at the same time. It'll give you the approximate location of them all also. So you can see it'll be in the central shroud and then in an area called the Jadeite Thicket. This is a North Shroud by Tree Speak. And then this is in Green Tier. So yeah, you just get an idea that all these locations. So we are in the North Shroud right now. And so we would just have to look for that area. There's the Mightling that we were just talking about. Go over there and just kill a few of them, and it will be a-okay. you might as well, right? If you see them, you might as well just quickly pop them and take care of them for the bonus EXP. You might find you don't do this on other classes unless you just wanted to complete the hunting log for a particular reason. But completely harmless thing to do. Now, there's another thing over here called a fate. Fates are just kind of open world quests. Anyone can participate. And they all have, like, slightly different objectives. You know, kill a few enemies or maybe, you know, pick up a certain number of items. Fates are also really good. I wouldn't spend too much time doing them in the early portions of the game. So as you can see here, this one's just to kill Oppo Oppos. And there's nothing wrong with this. It's a decent amount of EXP for the amount of effort. And in fact, especially at the higher levels, it's not unreasonable to even use Fates to level jobs. It's not a super fast way. It used to be incredibly fast, and it's kind of been, it's a bit more of a dated method of deciding to level. But that being said, if you're someone who maybe just wants to get a little bit of a bonus, I say, don't do what I'm doing now. I'm just kind of showing you that these are the Fate mobs, and all I'm doing is just killing them. And, you know, it's nothing special, I suppose, is all I'm showing you. You will eventually get a feature called a challenge log, which comes with a handful of objectives that you can do. And among them is to do a some number of fates. And so you might decide while you're out, you know, doing your leveling, you see a really easy fate. Maybe there's nobody around and it's just, you know, you just mow through it. You do enough of them and you actually get a portion of a level. So just another thing to keep in mind. You also put a little bit of gil in your pocket, not a significant amount, but at the early game, you might be someone who actually appreciates the small amounts of gil that you pick up from something like a fate or something like the challenge log itself. And we'll go over that when it's actually relevant. This would not be something that I would recommend you actually stop and do at the point in the game that I'm doing it right now. Unless you just want to see it. Or honestly, if you like to stop and smell the roses and this is something you're super into and you like stopping to do fates, go right ahead. Listen, I'm here to show you what it's like if you like skip all the cutscenes and you kind of just go through as a new player what to expect. But hey, the whole point of Final Fantasy XIV is that while you're going through the story, while you can play with other players, and you will play with them under certain circumstances, you're kind of playing a single-player RPG in a lot of senses of the word. The story you're progressing through is all about you. The other players are just kind of incidental. There's a lot of locations where you can just do those quests with NPCs nowadays as well. And there's no real rush. Like, MMO players know that when you get to endgame, your ambition as a player determines how much of a reason you have to get to endgame, right? If you just want to do the high-end raids, and that's the only thing you want to do, you'll get there eventually. And when you get there, regardless of what patch it is, there will be some form of high-end raid there waiting for you. But you're not going to get to max level, and then at least most people won't, and then suddenly like double back and do every raid in the game in like its intended difficulty with a group of 8 players. You won't do that as you're initially playing through it either. So you're going to, you know, what is the traditional end game that players are going through. And I mean, why would you need to rush to that? Like, yes, those encounters are flashy. They're cool. The music's great. But there's just, it's just, there's so much along the way that while I'm skipping the cutscenes, I don't recommend that you do that. I recommend you treat it like a fully fledged RPG, even though it's an MMO. Might be not be the most, like some people, that's just like not a way that they think of MMOs, but I mean, in this case, it kind of is, you know? So at the very least, all I can do is give you some basic recommendations on how to handle things. You do whatever you want, you know, no skin off my back. Play the game as you will, but I don't recommend going about things that way. I recommend just kind of taking your time and doing whatever brings you joy in the game. We're going to actually wrap up some of these hunting logs that are in this zone as well. No reason not to, right? We got these hunting logs done. We'll see more mobs as we go. Now, I will actually get quests that'll take me into this area, but I also am already here, so just knocking things out. Now, one thing I hadn't decided when I started recording this is how long each part would be. And I feel like for this first video, how long it is not super relevant because all I'm doing is kind of getting you inundated into what this series will be like. In future videos, I will more likely be focusing on specific goals where I will probably try to capstone a video with a dungeon or a trial or a specific series of quests that I think are important. This video, that's not really the point. I just wanted to take the time to reintroduce the series to everyone and really just get you familiar with what I'm going to be doing in this. Some people who played the game for years find that they enjoy the series. Like, I had people who played for years who watched the Healer Happy series who really enjoyed it, even though it didn't really teach them anything. They just kind of liked hearing about the perspectives in a different way. And for other people, it is actually a way to inform about the game itself. For some people, it's a means of catching up with how things have changed. There's a whole lot of reasons why someone could watch this. And given that I enjoy sharing experiences, sharing thoughts, sharing opinions, it's kind of a great way for me to do that. I can also educate in ways about like how to handle certain situations in dungeons. Like, it's going to be a little weird in this part because of the way the game works now. I don't really have to interact with players that much if I don't want to. In the really important fights, I do. But in a lot of cases, I really don't have to. And so I have to decide a fair balance between showcasing features on how the game works, things that I've done on my channel independently of something like this, but, you know, showing a new player kind of what to look for, and also actually getting into the duty finder to give you an experience or a reference of experience for what you'll actually have happening. Obviously, when you're playing with other people, skill levels are random, experience levels are random. You don't know the kind of players that you're going to get. And I'm of a firm opinion that you shouldn't rely on everybody else to do everything perfectly. You should just focus on what you need to do and what the best option you have in any given scenario is. So let's say that you're a healer, right? And your tank is not using defensive cooldowns. Yes, I would recommend saying something, asking them for some form of help. But if they are not adjusting, then you look for a way to make the adjustment yourself. Generally speaking, that will give you a more dynamic experience, but more importantly, it forces you to understand how other classes work and may encourage you to level said classes yourself. Like a healer, the best healers in the game are probably healers that have played a tank at some point, and the best tanks in the game are probably people who have played a healer and a DPS at some point. There's always been some sort of cross overlap. So, being able to kind of go into the duty finder and experience something that is, I'll say unusual, but being able to provide you with a method of kind of getting through the madness, I suppose is how I'll put it, I think is valuable. So I definitely want to do that. All right, so we finished the level 5 quest and did a few of those things while we were out there. We did also have a Ring of Freedom that I totally forgot about, as well as a Weathered Ring. I actually forgot that we start with all these weathered things now. I'll be able to wear the Bone Ring at level 9, but that's not for a little bit. That's not for, you know, another 3/4 of a level at this point. And actually, I think it's faster to do this. So see, you can go out to Central Shroud here, Blue Badger Gate. And this will just take me outside, just barely outside of the town, which is a little bit closer than if I had like teleported here and then walked up. Now we did also get that hunting log, and there's some monsters here that we want to pick off as well. Even if they're lower level, it's fine. It's no biggie. We're just gonna quickly tap them. You may see me do some like very odd things occasionally with like my target selection and whatnot, because at this point the amount of damage you deal versus enemy health bars is fairly significant. Sometimes I just pull a bunch of mobs, let my dots tick down, and then maybe even redot. Like, see, you'll just see me use arrows sometimes for the initial damage because I don't want to actually stop and cast a full stone cast. This is little things. Those are things you don't really need to do. Like, maybe you pick up on them as you go, but like that's something you're just going to see me doing that you don't need to really worry about too much. It's just they're me-isms, I suppose. Oops, sorry, I hit my microphone right there. Yeah, they're me-isms. Like, I know I have to kill 3 Chigos, and I know there's almost no way that anything here is actually going to kill me. So I could probably just leave that water sprite. Now I can. And they'll just slowly tick down. And if I do need to heal, I got cure. This is actually easier on certain like ranged classes where, you know, I could just kite them around freely. And sometimes, honestly, at low levels, I'll just do something like this, where I'll just straight up spam like a really bad like instant cast ability while I'm running away from something, just to kind of like finish it off. You know, like, why bother standing here casting stone when it's so weak that I might be able to kill like that? That would make more sense if I was actually wearing some of that other gear I was showing you, or that I've been talking about, the stuff that has the bonus EXP. A lot of the times it also has bonus stats on it. Like, if you look at the... I guess these are... Oh, no, this has intelligence. Like, the Moogle cap has 1 intelligence. This also only has 1 intelligence. I'll get some better examples later, but that's the same idea. All right, and then this is actually going to be an instanced quest. They give you a quick little warning about these. The max level that it'll sink you down to. I will say, definitely pay attention to what NPCs have to say in these types of quests. Sometimes they'll actually tell you exactly what targets to go after. So, for example, they're going to go deal with the Frenzied Elm for the most part. And you can largely deal with the Frenzied Oaks, is what ends up happening. So, over here on the left-hand side is actually an aggro bar. So if you've attacked something, or if something that a friend, an ally has attacked is like you've healed them, or you just interacted with the enemy or one of the enemy's targets in any way, this will show up, and you can use it to quickly target enemies. It's something you should definitely get used to as you get later into the game. Not super important now, but something that can really, really help later. But this little dot on the left, there's a whole bunch of different symbols that can show up for it. And those will determine what your current aggro is on the target. So, see this flashing red, like, I guess it's not even a square because it's round. We'll call it a square. That means that the target is going to be hitting me. In a lot of these early quests, the most important targets you can be hitting are the ones that are targeting you. That means the game wants you to go out of your way and deal with that target in particular. The AI is not going to really be trying to help you that much with those targets. And, yeah, that's just a quick little thing to look for. Like, you can see, I barely tickle these things. Like, me hitting these things is like so inconsequential to the success. My entire purpose is to deal with the things that are actually coming after me. And here it is again. There's 2 more of these things off on the side. Both coming at me individually. And I just deal with these, and they turn and they deal with those. In some of the, like, middle level quests, sometimes things get a little dicey if you're not, like, actually selecting specific targets. Look at that. There's 2 more even. But that's very, very seldom. And again, if you pay attention to what the NPCs say, then it'll teach you a lesson. Like, for example, the short-tempered thaumaturge said, if you value your life, stay close. He's telling you that because if you lose enough health, he'll heal you. And so, take his advice and stand close. So just little bits like that. And the more you actually pay attention to text in tons of different instances, honestly, the easier time you'll have as a whole. All right, and there you go. Nice and simple. Skip the cutscene. Grab the magic blade. And then return it to the quest giver. Keep an eye on my hunting log real quick. What else do I still need? I need a Syrphid Swarm and a Northern Vulture. The Northern Vulture is in a completely different area. I will have to go that way eventually. For now, not. I believe my level 10 class quest takes me out there, specifically. For now, the Syrphid Swarms are in green tier, which is actually... oh, did I not kill that sprite? Did I outrange it? Silly me. I thought I killed it for some reason. Well, let's just take care of that real quick. But yeah, they're around here somewhere, because this is green tier right now. If you're ever wondering if you're in an area, on your actual map, it says right here where you are. So, never hurts to be paying attention to that. Now, that doesn't obviously tell you exactly where the enemies you're looking for are, but it gives you a decent idea. And you can see these micro chews here are actually the same mobs that I needed from the other thing. So, like, all I know is somewhere in green tier, that mob that I'm looking for is around, and I should probably kill it so I can get this quest done. I wouldn't worry about it too much. Again, as long as you pay a bit of attention, you almost always find the enemies. In fact, I believe these enemies are more to the west. But if you want to stop and familiarize yourself, like, yeah, there's just a bunch of hoglets over here. There's actually a little, like, mini dungeon. I wonder if they were a part of this. Oh, yeah, here they are. There's another place I'll have to come later, so... Again, we would have run into them naturally, but I'm going a little bit ahead of the curve. Also, you'll see me spamming the button. You don't have to do that. That's something a lot of like longtime MMO players do. It's because we're afraid of an input not being registered by the game. And to eliminate that by spamming over and over and over again, sorry, I had to lean out. We're kind of just eliminating that function. Now, something that Final Fantasy XIV does is it's called an ability queue. Now, what the ability queue actually accomplishes is when you press a button, when the next skill is not able to be cast, the client-side button press communicates to the server that this is the action that you want to do next. So it communicates to the server ahead of time that that's what you want, and thus the server will basically say, okay, well, as soon as it's allowed, I will activate that skill. So next time I hit an enemy, I'll show you what that ends up equating to. But basically, it's trying to eliminate all latency between your decision-making of what action you want to use and the server's ability to perform the action. So, great example. I hit this F. And right before Stone 1 is done casting, I press it once. So look with Stone 1. See how it's like I'm pressing it way before? Even there, like when I moved. I did a little too early that time. But yeah, about like about a quarter of the cast before, actually a little bit before, more like a fifth or something or whatever, or like 40% before the spell is done being cast. It registers that, and that is the main purpose. So that can lead to some, if you don't understand how that works, that can actually lead to some really awkward problems that you can create for yourself. Ooh, hey, an easy fate. But it's meant to be beneficial. So if you're someone who's like just kind of good at pressing the button a few times here or there, and you don't really feel like you need to spam press it like you see me doing, that's perfectly fine. The game is built in such a way that you're not punished for that. We're just longtime players, longtime MMO players across the entire genre. You're more likely, if you watch through footage, to see people like me doing it. Not all the time, but most of the time. All right, I think we're going to get to level 10, and I think that's going to be a wrap for this video. We're going to do this quest, I suppose, and then that will be a wrap for this video. That will get me to level 10, and we'll consider that a nice little introduction. At level 10, we are going to get a handful of new features that we can choose to interact with. I will choose to interact with them, even though they aren't super important. Definitely a good idea to understand all the game's systems, even the ones that don't really see a lot of updates or love anymore. And you'll notice that a lot in the A Realm Reborn sections, that things that you can do in the A Realm Reborn part of the game just aren't really that relevant for many things later on. But all the same, I think that makes for a decent enough introduction. I've explained to you your class quests, some basic instructions, gone through the settings, display name settings, all that stuff. And by turning this in, I should get to level 10, and that should be a solid stopping point. All right, now if you're on the free trial, mind you, some of the things I've shown you aren't ever going to apply to you until you purchase the main game. One of the big ones is that you are not going to be able to hold over 300,000 gil. When we get to that point, I will point it out when you will reach it, because that may be a point in which you actually want to consider buying the full game, even if it's just the starter edition. And I'm going to be honest, that's not that far into the game where that might happen to you. So please bear that in mind. Now, one thing you definitely want to do before logging off, this is very important. You want to make sure you're near an aetheryte or in a city of some kind. Any city is considered a sanctuary, but you're looking for a sanctuary area. So I'm going to pull up the teleport menu and go to the aetheryte that we registered as the free location. And you can't see it right now, but in the bottom left in my chat, it said you have entered a sanctuary. Now, a sanctuary can also be identified by this little moon symbol next to your experience point bar. This gives you rested experience points. Basically, when you're not actually engaging in combat, it will gradually kind of store up bonus EXP that you earn from fighting enemies, exclusively from fighting enemies. It stores up several levels worth. I believe 2 levels might be what it stores up. It's been a while since I've checked. And that number can actually be extended, because it's not like you don't get bonus EXP from quests for your rested bonus. If you have multiple stacked bonuses for monster EXP, then it's only going to apply the amount that you gain specifically from using rested. So you can actually make like a level of rested at the higher levels end up kind of being around for like you know, 5, 6, 7 levels. You're not actually getting that much rested, but it helps to have it around for that entire time. Whenever you log out of the game, whenever you're done playing, go back to a city, go to an aetheryte, just try to be in a sanctuary, because as long as you have leveling to do, you don't want to not just get free experience from not playing the game. So with that, that is my last piece of advice for this first part of our Final Fantasy XIV Let's Play series, or Let's Say series, whatever you would prefer. Thank you for watching. Hopefully those of you who have long awaited the return of the Let's Play series will enjoy it, having some background noise. And also, if you're looking for more Final Fantasy Let's Play action, don't forget that I also release a mostly weekly Final Fantasy XI Let's Play for people who may not have played it and are looking to learn more about it, or for players that played it back in the day, or whatever your reason is. If you're looking for a lot of background noise, I've got a lot of long-form videos on the channel that I release on a pretty regular basis. So, thank you for watching. I will see all of you in the next video. And until then, I bid you adieu. Bye-bye.